Welcome to the Sharkpreneur Podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Green. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Green is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Green. Today, I've got the good fortune to be with Joe from eMortgage Capital. Joe, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Seth.
Our pleasure. So let's go back in time a little bit. How did you get started in the business?
I started in 2002, right out of college. I started almost by accident. I had a friend who basically told me that there's no way I was going to be able to sustain my lifestyle in academia, being in academia, because I had been accustomed to a higher quality of life in Newport Beach. And he's like, there's no way a college professor is going to be able to really afford that lifestyle that you want. So he directed me to the mortgage space. And I was still in grad school at the time. And I was on track to get my PhD in sociology and just kind of like write books and hang out on the beach, and teach. But I quickly learned that wasn't really sustainable. And I, got back into the good graces of entrepreneurship. And, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 14 years old, and I tried to pivot a little bit into the academia route, but then discovered, especially when I was young, that, college professors were only making 80, 90 grand a year at the time after they get their doctorate. I think they're getting like 150 now or something, but I live in Newport Beach. There's no professors there.
Understood. All right. So that's what got you into the mortgage business in the first place. Talk a little bit kind of your career journey before eMortgage Capital.
So I've always been an entrepreneur. As soon as I got in the mortgage industry, I, again, started off as a loan officer, but the people I had worked for were, before Dodd-Frank, before all the new regulations came in the mortgage space, the mortgage industry as a whole was not very regulated. So I was kind of forced to start my own real estate brokerage, because I was just getting bamboozled from all the people I'd worked for. They just kept taking my commissions, and I was sick of it. I just couldn't believe how unregulated the industry was as a whole. So I just took my future into my own hands and started a mortgage company based on honesty, integrity, and really servitude of the people. And that was my first mortgage company. I started that in 2005. It's called Primetime Financial Consulting. And I had a vision for it at the time. I wanted to do much more than just mortgages. I wanted to provide a complete end-to-end financial ecosystem, from everything from financial planning to mortgages to real estate consulting, and to loss mitigation. And then the industry imploded in 2008, 2009. And then I pivoted to another industry also in the mortgage space called loss mitigation. And I built another big company. And then I saw the mortgage industry kind of coming back in 2011, and started coming back into the mortgage industry. I created the DBA of eMortgage in 2011. And then I went full throttle, and we incorporated in 2015. And that's when we really went all in on the vision behind eMortgage Capital in 2015, which was to create a mortgage platform for people so they don't have to go through the compliance and the headaches of establishing their own mortgage entity. Now we are a national mortgage bank and broker licensed in 48 states, and we are complete end-to-end ecosystem, everything from marketing to IT to legal to compliance to your audits and surety bonds and technology and infrastructure, and white labeling our solution. So now our target avatar is just other mortgage companies. No longer is it just an individual loan officer.
That is absolutely incredible. I am sure the longer version of that story could probably fill a book somewhere if it hasn't already. So what was, and I love the vertical integration. What was the why behind getting it all under one roof?
So when the industry imploded in 2005 through 2008, before the industry imploded, there used to be a mini platforms that supported something called like a branch model system. So you could plug into another mortgage company and not have to worry about licensing in 50 states, because licensing is a headache, as we all know. So when the industry died, that whole business model also died. And I didn't invent this model. I think I'm a forerunner of all the specific things that we do within our current infrastructure and ecosystem, like with the total end-to-end vertical integration. But like the concept itself existed before my time, but it just had died. And I was one of the first people to bring it back with the emergence of the mortgage industry in 2011, with the emergence of the mortgage industry coming back post-crash.
So are you primarily focused on working with other mortgage companies and offering them licensing like your solution? Or are you primarily focused on the consumer and helping them, get a mortgage? Are you doing both?
So that's a great question. We do have a small consumer direct team here at our headquarters that does accommodate, direct to consumer. That's not our model. My specific job is to build the company. And the way I build the company is by basically acquiring other companies under our platform and bringing them to our infrastructure and supporting them and helping other people grow.
That's really interesting. So who are you like what acquisition targets, not actual specific companies, but what types of companies are you looking for now?
So my target avatar is usually a mortgage broker owner or company from 150 loan officers down to just a single loan officer or a single broker owner. So that's my target avatar. I'm in the business of making and scaling businesses. That's my job. I develop other companies. I develop other leaders. I develop other entrepreneurs.
So you've got one heck of a ripple effect, because every one mortgage broker or officer or company that you acquire probably touches a whole lot of people.
Correct. Yeah. It's a massive ripple effect. It's a much more better use of my time that I go after a mortgage company owner versus just an individual LO, consumer direct LO, just because I'm an entrepreneur. I speak like a different language than just a normal loan officer. So my target avatars are entrepreneurs because they understand the value proposition that our organization gives to them. You tap into $1 billion company, you have, infrastructure where we spend millions of dollars every single month on to support you as an individual broker who's barely making ends meet, maybe trying to invest $5,000 into your business. Now you get a company that's investing millions into your business and you don't have any headache. Outside of the investment that we make, we deal with all the headache, which the headaches are massive. And the compliance protocols are in a league of its own. We're in banking. So we're in banking in every state. Now, every state is hyper-regulated. And then you have your states that are hyper-regulated. Then you have the national regulators, which are also hyper-regulating these companies. And there's not a lot of people left for them to audit that have the money or the wherewithal to pay these extensive bills that these regulators charge. So people are folding left and right. They're looking for platforms like ours to support them and help them grow.
That is absolutely incredible. How do you then, you shared leaders eat, a kind of a leaders eat last mentality. How do you practice that when making tough calls with all of the balls you're juggling in the air all the time?
It's simple. You serve and you do God's work first, and then the rest follows. As long as I'm serving the people and I know what I'm doing is for the people, I know what I'm doing is I'm doing something to do God's work, to fulfill a promise for God. The rest follows. Success follows. The people follow. We grow. We don't put our profits first. We've been in a very fortunate position. My business partner and I, we had massive years in 2020, 2021. We don't have, luxury cars and luxury lifestyles. Like, we live very much beneath our means so that we can continue to plow money into the infrastructure and the company and continue to gain more market share. We are hyper-focused on gaining more market share and providing extensive value to our loan originators so that we can win their business every single day. We don't ask for business. We don't get mad if people leave. If someone leaves, then we know that we got to get better. So now we've built such an incredible, I would say, mousetrap almost, that no one wants to leave because we provide so much value in every single vertical. So you can't leave an infrastructure that continues to pour resources into you and continues to invest in your growth and your success. It just doesn't make sense.
I love that you've made it an irresistible offer to be a part of it and to stay part of it. What do you believe about the mortgage business now that you think most of the people in the industry are getting wrong?
Well, what I think people are getting wrong is that they think that it's the barrier to entry is difficult. They shouldn't enter. And that's absolutely incorrect. We've actually formed a new partnership. We rolled out on my podcast last week a partnership with a charity organization that's basically grooming people to get the education and then job placement right after. It's very and their target avatars are Hispanic, Latinos, Americans, but it applies to any sort of person at all, right out of college or. So I think the mortgage industry is a very, very lucrative industry. It's more lucrative than any other industry, other than investment banking or hedge funds or something like that. So it's in those along those rankings, right? And the barrier to entry is not very high. And the way to win is you just have to outperform, out hustle people. And it's you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. It's when you come into the mortgage industry, you're an entrepreneur. Are you ready to be an entrepreneur? People don't understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur. They don't understand what you have to do, the real work that it takes to actually win as an entrepreneur. When all they see is oh, this guy's just started this business and lives this lifestyle. That's not at all what it is, right? So what people get wrong about the mortgage industry in my mind, and I think you'd agree, is they don't understand that they become an entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur is not easy. Some people just want to sit back, show up, and get a paycheck. And if you want to be a successful mortgage professional, that's not an entrepreneur. That's just someone who's clocking in and clocking out. And we have those people too, and God bless them. And there's a place for them. But my target avatars, that's why I'm only going after owners of companies, because they get it.
That makes a ton of sense. Tell us a little bit about the podcast and what inspires you to start it.
So I like to think outside the walls of the mortgage industry. So my podcast is it's a top show nationally, one of the top shows on Apple across the board in all verticals. It's a top 10 business show. And I interview other founders and CEOs about their trials, their struggles, their triumphs, what inspired them to start their companies. And I dive a little bit more about faith and family and what they're going to say in front of God, their morning when they die, what their morning routines, how they raise their kids when they have an abundance. Most entrepreneurs didn't come from abundance; they came from poverty. So how do we instill that same mindset that brought us to where we're at now in our children? So that's the sort of thing that I address in my podcast. It's not woo woo or anything. It's just straight to the point. It's really questions that inspire me. How do I get better? And I say this all the time, as long as I'm getting better from every single one of my shows, I don't care who's listening, because they pour into me. I get to sit with people that I only could have dreamed of sitting with at one point in my life. I come from very poor roots, and these are people, I've had people that I've watched on television, since I was a boy. I've had, Marshall Falk and Sugar Shane Mosley and all these people that I only dreamed of meeting. I could never even dream of meeting, actually. Now they're just in my car and I'm taking them to lunch, or something like that. And they're just pouring in all their wisdom and their struggles and their, and we become bros. So it's been a dream come true for me. I don't take, I don't take brand deals. I don't do any of that. I do it purely to just provide and give feedback. And it's my contribution to society. It's my own little philanthropic project that's gaining a lot of momentum, that now I have a voice that I can help a lot of people with.
That is awesome. You've helped so many people and achieved so much success. What's the biggest challenge you're facing now?
Well, I'm in a hyper-regulated industry, so we have a lot of compliance that when you're at our level in our industry, all you do is just you're always under attack from everybody for whatever reason, and that just kind of comes with the territory. I mean, look at Donald Trump. You know, he's under attack every second, literally, and his attacks are much worse.
Very true.
Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. The bigger we get, the more attacked we are, and it's an unfortunate reality because I'm just here to serve and do God's work. And, the greatest servant of all time was crucified. And that's just how I just look at it. Like you're going to serve, you're going to get attacked, and it comes with the territory. No good deed ever, ever, ever will go unpunished.
Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
I get to serve. I get to help. I get to make a dent in society. I get to make people's lives better. And it's my calling.
That is awesome. For our folks who are watching or listening, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about the business and more about your show?
Joseph Shalaby on all platforms, JOSEPHSHALABY, and Coffees with a Z, COFFEEZ. You can see my backdrop there. Coffees for Closers. If you just look up Coffees on any AI platform or Google or whatever, it'll pop up. We own that word, Coffees with a Z. And you'll be able to plug into the podcast, plug into our YouTube, plug into our Instagram or our Facebook. So Coffees for Closers, Joseph Shalaby. You can find us on all socials.
Awesome. Love the Glengarry Glen Ross reference. We know your time's incredibly valuable. We greatly appreciate you spending some of it with us. This has been Seth Green with Joe Shalaby. Check out Coffees for Closers. Joe, thanks again for joining us.
God bless you, Seth. God bless the audience. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.